Life has this funny way of throwing unexpected situations at us when we least expect them. Today, I want to share with you a personal story, one that I've kept mostly to myself for a very long time, because it's complicated, layered with emotions, and not something I ever thought I'd talk about openly. Have you ever found yourself standing right on the edge of a confusing line, not because you wanted to cross it, but because circumstances just pulled you there? That's exactly how I felt on that one ordinary day. It almost seemed like life itself was playing a strange, ironic joke, and somehow I ended up right in the middle of it. Everything started on a completely normal Saturday afternoon. The weekend was unfolding in the most relaxed way possible. No big plans, no rush, just me taking care of some simple household tasks around the house. The dryer was running in the background with its steady, soothing hum, filling the laundry room with that familiar warm scent of clean clothes. I decided to tackle my closet, going through old clothes to figure out what could be donated to make space for things I actually wore these days. As I was pulling items off hangers and folding them neatly into piles, my hand brushed against something, tucked way in the back, an old miniskirt from years ago. I hadn't worn anything like that in forever. Honestly, I thought that chapter of my life was long behind me, a phase I'd moved past as responsibilities and maturity took over. But holding it in my hands brought back a rush of memories all at once. It reminded me of my younger self, carefree, full of energy, feeling unstoppable and completely at ease in my own skin. Life back then was about simple joys, freedom, and not overthinking every little decision. On pure impulse, I thought, why not? Just for fun. Let's see if it still fits. I slipped it on, not expecting much at all. When I stepped in front of the full-length mirror in my bedroom, though, I couldn't help but let out a small, surprised laugh. The skirt hugged my figure more closely than I remembered, snug in places, highlighting curves I hadn't paid attention to in ages. It wasn't perfect, maybe a little tighter around the hips than it used to be, but there was something nostalgic and almost playful about seeing myself like that again. I was just messing around, twirling a little, enjoying the silly moment of rediscovering an old piece of clothing. That's when I heard a knock at the front door. My first thought was, who could that possibly be? My hair was a complete mess from moving things around. I was dressed super casually. No makeup, no effort, and I definitely wasn't expecting company. I walked over, still half laughing at myself in my head, and opened the door. Standing there was my nephew, Jason. He wasn't the little boy I used to babysit anymore. At 22, he had grown into a strong, confident young man. Broad shoulders, tall frame, that easy presence that naturally drew people's attention when he walked into a room. He was holding a small toolbox and wearing his usual laid-back, friendly smile. "Hey, Auntie," he said cheerfully. "You mentioned something about a leaky faucet the other week? I figured I'd swing by and take a look since I was nearby." I had completely forgotten I'd even brought it up in passing during a family call. Feeling a bit self-conscious about how I looked, I just brushed it off with a laugh. "Oh, right, yes. Come on in. The guest bathroom is right down the hallway." He stepped inside, giving me a quick glance as he passed. For just a second, I thought. I saw him pause, his eyes flickering in my direction before he quickly looked away. Maybe I was imagining it. I told myself it was nothing and went back to sorting clothes in the bedroom while he headed to the bathroom to start working. But as the minutes ticked by, I couldn't shake this subtle, strange feeling in the air. It wasn't bad or uncomfortable. Exactly, just different. Have you ever noticed when someone's attention lingers on you a little longer than usual, even if they're trying to be discreet about it? At first, I brushed it off as me overanalyzing. After all, this was Jason, my nephew family. There was no reason to read anything into it. Later, when I walked past the bathroom on my way to grab something from the kitchen, he suddenly called out, "Hey, Auntie, could you come here for a second? I think I might need a hand with something." Curious, I stepped into the small bathroom. He was crouched down near the sink, sleeves rolled up on his flannel shirt, showing his strong, tanned forearms as he gripped a wrench. He looked up at me with that same calm expression. "The pipe under here is really stuck," he explained. "Could you just hold this steady for me while I try to twist it loose?" I nodded and leaned in to grip the faucet handle. The bathroom was tiny, so we ended up standing very close, shoulders almost touching. I tried to focus on the task, but I could feel the warmth from his arm brushing against mine as he worked with focus and determination. Every now and then, I caught him glancing my way. Not staring, just quick looks, like he was trying to figure something out. Trying to break the quiet, I asked lightly, "Everything okay down there?" He paused for a moment, then gave me his usual relaxed smile. "Yeah, all good. You're the expert on holding things steady, right?" We both chuckled, but the laugh felt a little forced on my part. I couldn't ignore how his eyes seemed to linger, just a second longer than necessary. After a few more minutes of effort, the pipe finally gave way. He stood up, wiped his hands on his jeans, and said proudly, "There we go, all fixed. Should be good as new now." "Thank you so much," I replied, trying to sound casual and normal. "You're a real lifesaver." He leaned back against the counter, crossing his arms, and looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "You know, Auntie, I don't think I've ever seen you dressed quite like that before." My cheeks warmed instantly. I tugged at the hem of the skirt awkwardly. "Oh, this? Haha, it's just an old thing I found buried in the closet while I was cleaning out stuff to donate. I was just trying it on for fun, nostalgia, you know?" He didn't say anything right away. He just kept looking at me, his eyes holding something unreadable. Then he smiled again, this time softer, quieter. "Well, it looks really nice on you, suits you." I didn't know what to say. "Thanks, I guess," I mumbled, suddenly feeling very self-aware. I turned quickly toward the door, hoping to put some space between us and return to normal. But as I stepped into the hallway, I heard his footsteps behind me. "Auntie," he said gently, stopping me. I turned around, my heart beating a little faster than it should have. "Yeah?" He hesitated, searching for the right words. "Do you ever get the feeling that some things happen for a reason?" I blinked, genuinely confused. "What do you mean?" He opened his mouth like he was about to explain, then shook his head with a small laugh. "Never mind. Forget I said anything." But I couldn't forget. The way he looked at me in that moment, the tone in his voice, it stayed with me long after. He left the house that afternoon. That evening I tried to shake it off. I curled up on the living room couch, remote in hand, flipping through channels without really watching anything. I kept repeating to myself that I was overthinking everything. Jason was family. It was nothing. Just a weird moment. Then my phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was a message from him. "Hey, Auntie, can I ask you something?" I stared at the screen for a long time, wondering why he was reaching out again so soon. Eventually, I typed back, "Of course. What's up?" His reply came almost right away. "I've been thinking about today, and about you. You looked different, in a good way. I guess it just caught me off guard." My stomach did a small flip. What was he trying to say? I paused, fingers hovering, then replied neutrally, "I was just trying on some old clothes from years ago. Nothing special." He responded quickly, "No, I mean it. You looked really great. I'm being honest." I stared at those words, my pulse picking up. Was this innocent? Or was there more behind it? I didn't know how to respond without making things awkward. After a long pause, I wrote, "Thanks, Jason. That's sweet of you to say." But he wasn't done. "I'm not sure if I should even say this, but I felt something today. Did you feel anything too?" My breath caught. This was crossing into dangerous territory. Jason wasn't just anyone. He was my nephew. Whatever he was feeling had to be misplaced, confused. Instead of shutting it down harshly, though, I hesitated. Maybe out of concern for his feelings. Maybe curiosity. I didn't reply right away. The typing bubble appeared again. Then, "Sorry, forget I said that. I don't want to make things weird." I exhaled, relieved but still unsettled. I told myself it was all a misunderstanding. He'd get over it, and things would go back to normal. The next morning, as I was sipping coffee in my kitchen, still in pajamas, hair messy, I heard another knock. My heart jumped. When I opened the door, there was Jason again, hands in his pockets, looking more serious than I'd ever seen him. No carefree smile this time. "Jason? What are you doing here so early?" "I was in the area. Thought I'd check in," he said, stepping inside without waiting for an invite. It was a weak excuse. He didn't live close by, but I didn't push it. We ended up in the living room. He sat on the couch, leaning forward, elbows on knees. The silence felt heavy. "Is everything okay?" I asked, sitting across from him. He looked up, eyes searching mine. "About last night, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I'm sorry." I let out a breath. "It's okay, Jason. Let's just forget about it." But he shook his head. "I can't just forget it, Auntie. I meant what I said." My whole body tensed. "Jason, this isn't how family talks to each other. I think you're confusing things. Your feelings are probably just gratitude or admiration. That's normal, but we can't let it turn into something else." He nodded slowly, looking down. "I know it's wrong. I've been trying to push it away, but it's been eating at me. I had to tell you." The room went quiet except for the soft ticking of the wall clock. I felt a mix of shock, confusion, sadness, and a tiny bit of guilt for not seeing this coming. Finally, I stood up. "Jason, I think you should go. We both need space to think." He looked at me with regret and something deeper. "Okay," he whispered. But this isn't the end of the conversation. He left quietly. As the door closed, relief washed over me. But so did worry. This wasn't over. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low and long shadows stretched across the floor, I noticed an envelope slipped under the front door. My chest tightened. I knew who it was from before I even picked it up. Inside was Jason's neat handwriting. "Auntie, I know you asked me to leave, and I respect that, but I can't pretend these feelings aren't real. I'm not asking for anything. I just need you to know, if you want me to stay away completely, I'll do it, no questions. But if there's even a small part of you that feels something too, please tell me. I'll wait." I stood there, staring at the words, emotions swirling, anger, flattery, fear, sadness. Was he serious? How had we gotten here? I folded the letter, tucked it away, and told myself I'd ignore it. But that night, another message came. "Did you get what I left? I just need to know," I replied. "Yes, I got it. But Jason, this has to stop. It's not healthy for either of us." He wrote back fast. "I'll stop if you really want me to. But please be honest. Do you feel anything for me at all? Even a little?" I stared at the screen forever. Admitting anything would make it worse. Denying it completely felt wrong too. Finally, I typed, "You're my nephew. That's all there is. That's all there can ever be." The next day at work, I tried to focus. My job had always been my safe space, a place to escape personal chaos. But as I sat at my desk answering emails, I felt eyes on me. I looked up, and there he was, standing outside the office window, hands in pockets, looking torn but determined. I hurried outside before he could come in. "Jason, what are you doing here?" "I needed to see you," he said quietly. "You didn't really answer me last night. Jason, we've talked about this. This can't keep happening." "You didn't say you felt nothing," he pointed out, stepping closer. I stepped back. "This isn't about feelings. It's about what's right and wrong. Whatever this is, it has to stop." He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "I know it's wrong. I've told myself 100 times, but I can't control how I feel." His words hung heavy. I started to walk away. "Auntie, Wait. He gently caught my arm. I froze, looking down at his hand, then up at his face. Vulnerable. Raw. I'm not trying to ruin anything, he said. I just need to know if there's any chance. If not, I'll disappear. You won't have to see me again. That hit hard. The thought of losing him completely from my life hurt more than I expected. But I knew dragging this out would only cause more pain. Jason, I said, voice shaking. Your family. That's all we can be. Ever. He nodded slowly, shoulders dropping. Okay, I get it. I'll back off. As he walked away, I felt relief mixed with a strange sadness. I thought that was the end. But later that night, my phone rang, and everything changed. Again. It was late. I was getting ready for bed when the phone kept buzzing. When I saw Jason's name, my stomach dropped. But it wasn't him. It was a nurse from the local hospital. Your nephew has been in an accident. He's asking for you. Panic took over. I grabbed my keys and drove straight there, heart pounding the whole way. In the ER, I found him on a bed, small cut on his forehead, arm in a sling. He looked pale but alert. What happened? I asked, voice full of worry. He gave a weak smile. Just a little fender bender, nothing major. You scared me half to death, I said, pulling a chair close. I'm sorry. I didn't know who else to call. I sighed. I'm here now. Are you okay? Yeah, but there's something I need to say. Jason, not now. Please just let me. He looked at his hands, fidgeting with the blanket. When I thought things might be serious, all I could think about was you. How much I care. How many mistakes I've made. How much I don't want to lose you. I started to speak, but he stopped, me gently. I know I've crossed lines. I hate myself for it. But this isn't just a crush. It's deeper. I care about you more than anyone. I know it's wrong, but I can't make it go away. His words filled the room, heavy, honest, painful. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to comfort him. Another part knew kind words wouldn't fix this. A nurse came in. Visiting hours are over. I stood, grateful for the interruption. Get some rest. We'll talk later. He nodded, holding my gaze as I left. Driving home, I replayed everything. When I pulled into the driveway, the house felt too quiet. Inside, on the kitchen table, was a small package with my name in his handwriting. I opened it slowly. Inside, a letter and a photo album. The letter began, Auntie, I know you want space, but I need to explain everything, even if this is goodbye. Please read this, then look at the album. If you want me gone forever, I'll respect it, he wrote, about noticing a shift in how he saw me, not just as an aunt, but as someone who had always been there. Supportive, kind, strong. He admitted trying to fight it, but couldn't change his heart. He said he'd made the album to remind himself of the good things. Family photos from barbecues, holidays, casual moments. Little notes next to each picture, how my laugh lit up the room, how I always checked on everyone, how he admired my resilience. I flipped through. Tears came. It was touching, painfully so, and completely overwhelming. He wasn't just infatuated. He was pouring out his heart in the most vulnerable way possible. My phone buzzed again. Did you get it? If you want me gone, just say so. I'll leave tomorrow. I sat for hours, emotions battling reason. Finally, I texted, Come over tomorrow. We need to talk. The next morning, he arrived, nervous but hopeful. We sat in the living room, facing each other. Jason, I began, calm but firm. I read the letter. I looked at every photo. I see how much thought you put into it, and it touched me deeply. But we have to set clear boundaries, for both our sakes. He nodded cautiously. I just needed you to know. That's all. I love you, I said, leaning forward. But as family. Only as family. What you're feeling comes from appreciation, from years of support. It's okay to feel grateful, but we can't mix that up with something else. It would hurt us both in the end. He looked at his hands, relief and sadness mixing. I understand. I don't want to lose you, Auntie. You won't lose me, I said, taking his hand gently. But you need time. Maybe talk to someone, a counselor, who can help you sort through this. He nodded. For the first time in days, I saw peace in his eyes. We talked more about his future, his career goals, hobbies he wanted to pursue. When he left, the air felt lighter. Over the following weeks and months, he gave us both space. He focused on himself, got help, worked through his feelings. Slowly, our relationship healed, not back to exactly what it was, but to something healthy. Again, supportive, caring, purely familial. It wasn't easy. There were awkward moments, quiet reflections. But we both grew from it. I learned how important clear boundaries are, how vital it is to face difficult conversations head-on instead of avoiding them. Jason discovered clarity about his own heart, building a stronger sense of self that didn't depend on anyone else. Looking back now, I'm truly grateful. We navigated one of the hardest, most confusing situations imaginable, and came out the other side without breaking the one bond that matters most: family. Thanks for listening to my untold story. Sometimes the toughest moments teach us the most about love, respect, and what really holds us together.